Hello and welcome back to another full step-by-step PC build guide, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build a PC in the latest case from Montech. This is the HS02. If you see any parts you like, you find links to everything that I've used in the video, so let's make a start by taking a detailed look at the case. So before we're able to remove our side panels, we're going to need to remove the top panel. So our top panel is magnetically attached. There's a little tab at the back you can simply lift up to remove the panel. And if we take a look at our top panel, you'll notice there's no industrial dust filters, and Montech are going with just mesh at the top. So we've got tempered glass on the front and on the side without a pillar in between. It does look like this curves round. It isn't a single piece of tempered glass. The curve is actually on the front panel, and then there is a little gap here between the side panel. So to remove our tempered glass side panel, there's a little notch at the back. You can get your fingers in behind and then just simply pull the panel out from the top and then lift up and away. And the front panel is removed in exactly the same way. Taking a look at our other side panel, we've got this perforated area, which is actually a source of intake for our power supply's intake fan. And to remove this panel, again, you can get your fingers in at the top, pop the panel out from the top, and then lift up and away. Again, on the back of this panel, there's no additional dust filters. And our case's 1-in-ring dust filter is at the bottom. It's magnetically attached and it can simply be pulled off. Taking a look at our front I/O, we've got a power button, we've got a button to control the case's built-in ARGB controller, we've got separate headphone and microphone jacks, we've got 2 USB Type-A ports and a single Type-C port. So take a look in from the front. I think the first thing that's going to stand out is this large protrusion. You might be wondering what it's for, but this is actually where your power supply is going to go. So the advantage of having your power supply up here at the front, protruding into the main body of the case, is it is going to help limit the width of the case that you wouldn't be able to do if you had a traditional dual chamber case. And also you don't need a power supply compartment down at the bottom, meaning you can have your fans all the way down at the bottom of the case. So I've got the Pro version of the case, which comes with 5 pre-installed case fans. So down at the bottom, we've got 3 120mm PWM ARGB reverse blade fans. These are going to be set as intake, bringing cool air straight into your graphics card. And you'll notice that the fans are recessed at the bottom, giving them a really clean look. And we've got another 2 120mm PWM ARGB fans at the rear. And again, I absolutely love the recessed look. Our final fan mounting slot is at the top, where you can fit up to 3 120mm fans or up to a 360mm radiator. There's no support for 140mm fans or radiators in multiples of 140, and you're going to have to screw things directly to the top because there's no removable fan or radiator bracket. So it's not just the fans that are going to be recessed in this case, your motherboard is actually going to be recessed at the back as well, which should look really clean. So in terms of motherboard support, because it is recessed, the maximum you're going to be able to fit is up to ATX, and it's great to see we've got cutouts for back connector motherboards. If you want to go with a CPU air cooler, the maximum height supported is up to 175mm. So taking a look at the top, you'll notice we've got this perforated panel for routing all your cables. We've got cutouts here for routing your fans and your AIO. And we've also got cutouts at the bottom, which should keep all your cables in the recessed area. Likewise, there's little cutouts here coming straight through from the power supply compartment. We've also got this bottom panel, so if you are planning on going with a micro ATX motherboard, this should really help improve the aesthetics. Because we're going for an ATX motherboard, we're going to need to remove this. It's held on at the back with 2 screws, and then the panel is simply free to remove. And now you can see our bottom row of standoffs, as well as the additional row of cutouts for back connector motherboards. Taking a look at the rear of the case, you can see we've got 7 horizontal PCI expansion slot brackets, and the maximum length of graphics card supported is up to 420mm. So with such large graphics card support, it's good to see the case comes with the GPU support bracket. You can see we've got a series of holes here, so all you're going to need to do is take the GPU support bracket that comes in the case accessory box. There's a nice little rubber pad on the top to protect your graphics card. Pick the hole that fits with your GPU and screw the thumb screw in. So you're just going to put the thumb screw in loosely first of all, install your graphics card, lift it up to where it supports the graphics card, and then tighten up the thumb screw. So if you'd rather install your graphics card vertically, this bracket is rotatable. First thing we're going to need to do is remove the bracket cover. It's held on with 2 screws, and then we've got 2 screws holding the brackets in place. You can then remove the bracket, rotate it around 90 degrees, just clip it in at the bottom, and then we can replace the 2 screws. And then you're going to be able to replace the cable cover above and secure it with the 2 screws. So you can see you can pick and choose which of the slots you install your graphics card in, so you should get it nicely centered well away from the tempered glass panel. The only additional thing you're going to need to pick up is a riser cable. So because our rear fans are recessed, you might be wondering how you're actually going to be able to remove the slot covers or secure your graphics card, because there's no way to get a screwdriver in under the fans. But thankfully, the rear fan bracket is removable. There's 2 screws on the top we need to remove, and then we're going to be able to slide the bracket out from the top, lift it up, and slide it over to the side, meaning that we're now going to have access to the slot covers. And you'll notice we've got an ARGB lighting bar at the front and at the side of the case. Taking a look at the other side of the case, we've got our power supply cover here, and we notice we've got this perforated area for the power supply's intake fan. To remove the cover, there's one screw at the top we need to loosen, and then we can pop the panel out from the top and lift up and away. And behind it is where we're going to find our case accessory bag. So taking a look at the back of the bracket we just removed, you're going to be able to mount drives below your power supply. You'll notice we've got a little cutout here for your drives I/O, and on the bracket you're going to be able to mount either two 2.5-inch drives. You're simply going to set the drives into place and screw them in from the back, or alternatively down at the bottom you can mount a 3.5-inch drive with a 2.5-inch drive above it. So you can see here we've got this compartment at the top for our power supply and space at the bottom for our drives. And then we've got these cutouts here going directly through to the main compartment. In terms of securing your power supply, we've got this bracket at the top which you're going to secure your power supply to. It's going to hang down from the top, and the maximum length of power supply supported is up to 200 millimeters. So this bracket will accommodate both ATX and SFX power supplies. Hanging down from the top, it's designed to be used with an ATX power supply. So the bracket's held on at the top with 4 screws, and then with all the screws removed, the bracket can simply be tilted down and removed. So if you're going with an ATX power supply, all you're going to simply do is secure your power supply to the bracket and then install it into the case. If you want to go with an SFX power supply, you're going to turn things around. So you're still going to use these 4 screws, but they're going to be secured to the side of the case. So we turn it around, you've got your holes here for your SFX power supply, so you're simply going to secure it here. So with our SFX power supply hanging down from the top, we're simply going to insert the bracket into the case, and then we can secure it in with the same 4 screws from the other side. Final thing to mention, because our power supply's I/O is going to be at the top here, but we're going to plug the power cable from our power supply into the back of the case. We do have this cable extension. So this is going to go into the back of your power supply, and the other end of the cable comes out at the back of the case, and this is where you're going to plug your power supply's wall cable. We've got another drive bracket behind our motherboard, and on this you're going to be able to mount a single 3.5-inch drive or up to 2 2.5-inch drives. Again, just set your drives onto the bracket and screw them in from the back. And this bracket is removable. We've got a thumb screw on one side we need to loosen, and then we can tilt the bracket out and lift away. We've got another cover plate at the top held on with a screw, and once the screw's been removed, the plate can be tilted down and lifted away. So with it removed, you can see we've got access to this cable routing space. I'll just pull some of the cables away to give you a better look, and you'll see there we've got a 6-port PWM and ARGB hub, and our pre-installed case fans as well as our ARGB lighting bar are already connected up to it, and again a lot of the fans have been daisy chained into each other as well. So we're going to have motherboard control both for PWM and ARGB. You're just going to need to plug these cables into headers on your motherboard, and the hub is going to need power, so make sure you plug this SATA cable into your power supply. So great to see that Montech have matched our case cables to the colour of the case, but really disappointing to see that the cables coming from our fan and ARGB hub don't match. So this case has one more trick up its sleeve, and that is that it is reversible, and you find this really useful if you want to have the case sitting on the left hand side of your desk. The first thing to do is remove the bottom dust filter and the feet. The feet are each held on with 2 screws. And then we can install the feet on the top of the case. And we can then set our dust filter into place. Then we just need to replace all our panels. So that's what it looks like with the case inverted, and as I've mentioned, perfect if you're going to be having it on the left hand side of the desk. You're going to get a good view looking into your build. So looking in from the front, your I/O is now going to be at the top. Your power supply compartment is still going to be a bulge, but this time at the bottom rather than at the top. Motherboard's still going to be recessed, but it's now going to be upside down, as is your graphics card. It's going to be inserted upside down as well. We're now ready to start working on the motherboard. We're going to be installing our CPU, the bracket for our CPU cooler, our M.2 SSD and our RAM before we put the motherboard into the case. We can open our socket cover by pushing this lever down and out, bring it all the way to the middle of the motherboard, and then we'll open the socket cover up. Holding our CPU by the edges, we'll lower it carefully down into the socket, making sure we've got the text the correct way up. Once we're happy it's sitting correctly in the socket, we can go ahead and close the socket cover. Then as we close the lever, the white bit of plastic will pop off, and we'll put it in our motherboard box for safekeeping. First step in installing the bracket for our CPU cooler is to remove these stock clips. They're each held on with 2 screws. Next, we can set the two brackets into place, and notice there is a little arrow pointing towards the CPU, so make sure you install them the correct way around, and we'll secure them into place with the 4 AMD screws. Then we've got one of these brackets to go on to each side, and there is a little arrow again pointing towards the CPU. And then we have a thumb screw to go onto each corner. And then we get a spanner to tighten each corner up. Our Gen 5 M.2 slot is behind this top really beefy heatsink, so we can press this lever at the side and then lift the heatsink up and away. We're going to need to remove the plastic protection on the back of the heatsink. We can then insert our drive into the slot, and as we flatten it down, this clip will hold it in place. And then all we need to do is replace our heatsink. So you'll notice our motherboard looks really clean without any of the screw holes being visible. They're hidden behind covers, so we're going to need to remove them before we install the motherboard. So the covers are attached magnetically, and we're also going to need to remove our bottom heatsink. So we can press the button in, lift it up, and lift away. We're going to be installing our RAM in the 2nd and 4th slot along from the CPU, so I'm going to go ahead and open the clips on these slots. Then all we need to do is line our RAM up with a slot. Once we're happy everything's lined up, it's just some firm pressure, and it's going to clip into place. And then it's the same thing with our 2nd stick. Next, we can insert the motherboard into the case, line it up with the standoffs at the back, and we'll secure the motherboard to the case using 8 of the motherboard screws from the case accessory box. So even if we did remove our top M.2 SSD heatsink, there's no screw hole in the middle at the front of the motherboard. There is at the back, and the middle standoff is resting in the motherboard, but there's just no way to screw it in, and that's why I've used 8 screws rather than 9 to secure the motherboard. So we're now able to replace our bottom heatsink. I'm going to leave our other covers off for now, and the reason for that is I'm going to route the cables coming from our IO up through this cutout here and through to the back, and if I put these other covers on, they're going to block this channel here. So because I've got the back connector motherboard, you can see all our connectors coming out, so it's going to be really clean at the front with all our cables staying at the back. The first cable to plug in is our HD audio cable, and it's going to go into this header down the bottom right hand side of the motherboard. So this brings us onto our front panel connectors, and they're going to go into the pins on the right hand side of this header here. So starting off in the bottom row and working from right to left, pins 1 and 2 are for power LED positive and then power LED negative. And then the next 2 pins in the bottom row are for our power switch. Our front panel USB Type A cable is going to go into this header here. So it's just a matter of lining the cable up with the header and pushing into place. And our front panel Type C cable is going to go into this header here. So that just leaves us with the cables coming from our fan and ARGB hub. So we've got a system fan header down here at the bottom of the motherboard. So we can line the PWM cable up and push it into place. And next to it, we've got an ARGB header. Next, we can set our power supply bracket onto our power supply. And we'll secure it into place using 4 of the power supply screws from the case accessory bag. Then in terms of our cables, I'm going to plug in a 12 volt 2x6 cable to power our graphics card, an EPS cable to provide additional power to our CPU. We'll plug in our 24-pin motherboard cable, and I'm also going to plug in a SATA cable to power our fan and ARGB hub. So just before we set our power supply into place, I'm going to pass our power supply cable extension up through the cutout at the top, and then we can slide our power supply into place. We can secure the power supply at the top using the 4 original screws. We can then plug the cable extension into our power supply, and importantly, we're going to want to turn the power switch on our power supply to on. We're going to plug our 8-pin EPS cable into this header at the top right of the motherboard, and our 24-pin cable is going to go into this header here. The last cable to plug in is the SATA cable coming from our fan and ARGB hub into the SATA cable coming from our power supply. So it's great to see our fans are already attached to our radiator, so that's one less thing for us to do. And take a look at our pump, it's got a magnetic cover on it, so we just simply need to pull it off. So just before we set our IO into place, I'm just going to pass the cables coming from the fans through the cutout to the back, and then we can set our radiator up and into place. So it's not so easy to get the screw holes on our radiator lined up with the case at the top. So there's not a lot of room behind our IO for the fan connectors, which are due to change to each other. And that's the reason I'm having to apply quite a bit of pressure to get the holes in the top of the case to line up with the holes in the radiator. We can remove the plastic protection from our cold plate, and then we're just going to line our pump up with the brackets we've installed on the motherboard, and we're going to tighten up the thumb screws. Next, I'm just going to route the fan cable through to the back, and we can replace our ARGB cover. And I'm also going to route the wire coming from it through to the back. So don't worry if your cover's not up the right way. The front of it simply pulls off. You can rotate it round to it's up the right way, and then it simply attaches back on magnetically. And then we can remove the plastic protection. And with the IO, we do get some clips to help organize the tubes. And at this stage, we can now replace the motherboard's magnetic covers. We've got 3 fan headers at the top of the motherboard. Our CPU fan header is the one in the middle, so I'm going to plug the cable coming from the fans on the radiator into it. The other cable coming from our fans on the radiator is an ARGB cable. It's got a little splitter cable on it, so I'm going to unplug it and plug the ARGB cable coming from our pump into it. So because we do have an ARGB hub, it makes sense to plug this into the hub. Last cable to plug in is the PWM cable coming from our pump, and our pump header is just below our 24-pin connector. We're now ready to install our graphics card, so we're going to need to remove the 2nd, 3rd and 4th expansion slot covers from the top. We can press the button on the motherboard to open the clip on the PCIe slot. And I've already sized up our graphics card, and I think the GPU support bracket needs to go in the 2nd one from the bottom. So I'm just going to put it in loosely here. We can then insert the graphics card into the case and get it lined up with the PCIe slot. So I'm really struggling to get this graphics card into the case. It's just catching here on this bracket. And no matter which way I angle it, I just can't get it fitted in. What I'm going to do is slightly flex the case this way, and I am able to get the PCIe bracket squeezed in behind, although I am potentially scratching the motherboard in doing this. And there we go, we've managed to fit it in. We'll get the graphics card lined up with the slot and push it into place. We'll get the graphics card secured into place using the 3 original screws, and then we'll replace the slot cover. So we can go ahead and slide our GPU support bracket up to where it's supporting our graphics card, and then we'll go ahead and tighten up the thumb screw. So that's the bracket in the 2nd from the bottom slot pushed all the way up, but it's not actually doing a great job of supporting our graphics card here. I think I'm just going to need to remove it a slot up. Next, I want to get our 12V 2x6 cable plugged into our graphics card. In terms of routing it, there is a big space here. We could bring it in directly from the power supply compartment, but I don't like it running over the top of the graphics card, and I'd much rather have it running over the bottom. The main difficulty I'm having at the bottom is there is a hole at the bottom which lines up perfectly with the power slot, but I can't fit it through because of the bottom heatsink on our motherboard, which I can't take off because our graphics card is installed. So what I'm going to do is uninstall the graphics card, take the heatsink off, and bring the cable through and put everything back into place. So if you are following along to this build guide, what I would recommend doing is bringing your 12V 2x6 cable through to the front of the case once you've installed your power supply, so you're not going to run into the same issue. So you can see there with that cable cover bracket off, there's loads of room to get the cable passed through. Okay, so we'll bring our 12V 2x6 cable through, line it up with the graphics card, and push into place. And then we can just tidy up the cable using the included cable combs. Okay, last thing to do is some cable management and getting the panels back on again. So that's the build complete. I've gone ahead and set everything up off camera. If you don't know how to do that, there's another video I've made that covers setting up the PC after you've built it, and you'll find a link to that video in the description. What I'm going to be doing now is going to be doing some thermal testing, and then I'm going to be back with a case review, and I'll put a link to that video in the description. If you have enjoyed this full step-by-step PC build guide, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're not currently subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as well. Thanks for watching.